How's everybody doing? My name's Steve, and for my first review, I will be reviewing A Clockwork Orange. A Clockwork Orange is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It is a adaptation from a novel written by Anthony Burgess and directed by Stanley Kubrick in 1972. The reason I'm going to review this is not only because it's one of my most favorite movies, it is one of the most misunderstood movies, I think, today. How I got introduced to the movie was when I was 15. My friend had a dad that would buy him all sorts of weird movies, and of course one of the ones that he had was The Clockwork Orange. So I watched it at 15, and I can tell you that when I watched it at 15, I got something totally different than I get today, 10 years later, at 25. When I first watched it, I had the reaction of what most people do. It was very shocking, very violent. There was a lot of nudity, which, of course, at 15, I was a huge fan of. But it wasn't until I watched it 3 or 4 years later when I finally got what the movie's intended point was. The story is that Malcolm McDowell plays the main character Alex, who is a gang member in England, and he goes around and he does what gang members do. He rapes, he kills, he robs people, and he eventually gets caught because his gang members turn on him. He's sent to prison, and he hears about a technique that will get him out of prison early, and it's called the Ludovico technique, and it basically makes Alex sick and incapacitated every time he has to see an act of violence or get in a confrontation. And the main point of the story is whether Alex is it good for the government to go in and make somebody good when they no longer have the choice. It's about pretty much what makes a man. What makes a man is our ability to choose. So if you take that choice away from somebody, they're not really a man anymore. And eventually the government goes back and they, undo what they've done and change it back to normal. But that's the basic premise of the movie. Like I said, a lot of people can't get past it because of all the violence and stuff like that. I've read the book, and I actually like the movie better than I like the book. I'm not a real big book person, but I did read it after seeing the movie, so that might have something to do with it. But I thought that Stanley Kubrick really pushed the envelope for this one for a 1972 release. Even today, like I said, it's still pretty shocking. I've been looking through the videos here on YouTube, and there's one guy that says he hates the movie and he skipped over scenes because he didn't like them. But I think that takes away from the whole experience of the movie. Stanley Kubrick didn't just put those scenes in there for no reason. They were intended to show all the audience how violent this guy was. And I think that they were all put in there for a specific purpose. He didn't just ladle them in just to make people go to the movie, because Stanley Kubrick's always been kind of on the fringe of movie making. But I think Clockwork Orange is one of the best movies ever made. I definitely recommend seeing it if you don't think that you're able to get past the the outside of the violence and the rape and stuff like that. Then I wouldn't recommend watching it if you're not mature enough. But if you really want to see a really good movie that'll make you think, I would highly recommend A Clockwork Orange.